So find a comfortable seat. And remember that the theme today is Stiram Sukham Asanam, steady, easeful, taking your seat. And so ease, the sukha part, refers to that word ease or comfortable. Some people call this comfortable space pose. And I notice often when I first arrive to the mat or to my practice, this does not feel comfortable for whatever reason. Maybe I do my yoga practice early in the morning, so often I'm just kind of stiff and cranky in my tissues. So I like to just move around, and I really recommend this like shimmy of the ribs and the circling of the ribs. So we'll do that together in a moment, but just want to go over again the 3 ideas that we're working towards today. So that steadiness is always first, that really strong action of legs or whatever's touching earth. So we're not going to be doing headstands or handstands, but if we were, those would take the form of legs, of bringing that energy all the way up into the torso to feel that steady, strong action. So, but today we're going to focus mostly on our legs. And then the ease I liken to letting go. And that's always easier said than done for so many of us. I think letting go is a huge skill. And I was listening to this meditation teacher who was taking it into 5 different increments. So we're going to do that this morning, where you start with just a little bit of letting go, and then you keep adding and keep adding. So that's going to be our opening meditation today. And then taking your seat is really where it refers back to you and your abilities or whatever you bring to the mat on any given day. So, and that changes with the weather or the events of our world, or just with your own relationships to yourself and others. So take a moment to find your comfortable seat. Close your eyes. And let your inner mind's eye, that internal view, find the sitting bones. And see if you can tilt forward on them a little bit. You might feel like you're actually leaning a little bit or pitching forward. So see if you can just rock yourself towards the fronts of the sitting bones. And as you do that, you'll notice that the lumbar spine is making a nice little curve. So I love to see the belly or the whole pelvic region as like a bowl. And if it was a bowl of water, or maybe even better than that, jelly, that as you tip that pelvic bowl forward, things want to spill out. But this is the proper shape. The front hip points should be a little bit lower than the back rim of the pelvis. So, but then it also means that we often spill out our belly, our abdominal. So I say, move inside. Imagine you're picking up the jello that was spilling out and you're just tucking it back in. And see if that helps you feel like then you can sit upright without losing that lumbar curve, without losing the sitting on the fronts of the lumbar spine. So we'll go through that again. So you just tilt forward so that you feel yourself resting more on the front edge of the sitting bones. Feel the tipping out of water, liquid, jelly out of that pelvis. And then just use your own abdominals to pick up that and tuck it right back inside that bowl. From here, we'll just take our arms out to the side in a big T. Stretch from the very center of your body. So imagine you're not pulling from your shoulder joints, but you're actually pulling from where the sternum is, or where the middle of the shoulder blades are. You're just opening up those spaces. And then take your arms and swing them around so that you grab the backs of your shoulder blades as best you can. And then from here, squeeze and lift and breathe and get some space into the back body. And maybe even breathe back into the back ribs. And then very gently just spin that whole shape over to the left, looking over your left shoulder. And just notice if if you want to lift up and crunch the back. If you do, just breathe back into those back ribs. Try to keep them inflated. And then come back to center and go in the other direction. You're looking over your right shoulder and you breathe into the upper reaches of the back. So into the back ribs, behind the shoulder blades. And then you come back to center. Inhale, open those arms in a T. Try to remember which one was on top and which one was on the bottom, because we're going to do that again. But first, let's stretch open from the center. Try to go a little bit farther center than just your shoulders. Breathe into those spaces in the middle of you. And then as you exhale, opposite crossing, you sweep around and try to grab the shoulder blades behind you. Give yourself a big huggy squeeze. And as you squeeze, try to lift up a little bit. Breathe deeply into the back of the body, and then inhale, twist over to the right. Look over your right shoulder. See if you can breathe and lift up a little bit. And breathe into the back body. And then inhale, come back to center. And exhale, go to the other side. And you breathe into that back body as if you could lift it a little bit. And then return to center and swing your arms out to the side, big T. This time you're going to bring your hands to your rib cage. So the fingertips drape around the front, the thumb drapes around the back. And you first just feel into the shaping of those ribs. How do they shape in your body? Do the front ribs drop down lower or higher than the back ribs? So try to find evenness there. And then you're just going to start to shimmy, and you can use your hands. You push one hand in and then the other hand in. So you just take those ribs left and right, and you mobilize that thoracic spine there. And sometimes I'll go a little faster, sometimes I'll go a little slower, depending on what I think I need. And then you're going to take those ribs in a circle. And see if you can inhale as the ribs come out to the front and exhale to the back. And you want to keep the ribs as if they're polishing a countertop. There's going to be a little uplift as you go forward, a little uplift as you go back, but try to keep it mostly in the horizontal plane, and then go the other way. Beautiful. And then come back to center. Release those hands and just squeeze fingers and extend them out. Breathe deeply. Arrive into this spot, and then just rest your hands on your thighs. So we'll go through the 5 stages of letting go. So keep breathing with your spine upright. We're going to start with our face. So we're going to call that stage 1. And you're going to just see if you can release the grip around the muscles of your face so you feel more ease there. Maybe the eyes, the jaw. You might feel some of that letting go drip down through the neck. Breathe into that. See how much energy holding you can let go of. And then let's go down a little farther for stage 2. We'll drop down into neck and shoulders. The spaces around the heart and chest. See what you can let go of so that this pose continues to get more easeful. And you continue to breathe deeply and just feel that sense of letting go. And now you might feel that the face and the shoulders and upper chest are all starting to sort of hang. It's almost like the bones are still tall and upright, but the skin, the fascia, the muscles are hanging on the bones. And then stage 3, we go around to the base of the ribs, the solar plexus. You might have to go inside to organs here a little bit. And imagine you could let that letting go feeling coming on down. And your breath gets smoother and softer as you drop down into your belly. And you feel how the upper portion of the body is just kind of dripping or draping down over the bones. And then we drop down into hips and thighs, letting go there. Just learning the practice of letting go is a pretty profound practice. Great way to start our day. And letting that dripping down of letting go even go below the knees into shins and ankles and feet. Even the circumference of the knees let go. Even the back, the undersides of the knees let go, the upper calf. And even the toes or toenails let go. Feel the bones stacking up inside the body, but the skin, fascia, muscles draping. Last breath here. What a nice way to start our yoga practice, feeling the softness of our tissues, the uprightness of the bony structure. From here, let the hands just let go even more so they drape down by our sides. And then we inhale and sweep the arms up overhead. Now here's the opposite. You're going to feel as you lift up, let's interlace our fingers and take palms to the sky. Ears are right between your shoulders. If it works for you, keep your eyes closed so you keep bringing that internal vision more alive, more awake. And as best you can, feel the stretch from side bodies, from the hips all the way up through the armpits, elbows, wrists. One more breath. Can you go for an extra centimeter or two? Breathing into the full circumference of the ribs and then exhaling, releasing down. Let's just bring our hands into prayer from here. And find a moment to make an offering for something you'd either like to feel more steady in or somewhere where you'd like to feel more ease. And just take a moment to picture that. And then offer that with a bow. Inhale, come on up to sitting. We'll seal that with a breath and an om together. Inhaling deeply. To release your hands and open your eyes. Let's move our blocks. We're going to come up to standing to get our legs steady and strong and awake. This should start to look familiar to you. So we're going to bring our blocks together on the mat. Step our right foot onto one of the blocks so that the toes drape over. And the front of the block is right along the mounds of the toes. You're going to grab that block with your toes, and you're going to try to lift the arch all the way up into the pelvic floor, even as you let your hips hang back and let go. And as you feel the spilling, at least I hope you do, so that you have a lumbar curve, little spilling of the hips, you pull the belly up and get the contents of the belly back inside the hip ball. From here, we inhale the arms forward, and we exhale, we pull them back along by our ribs. Inhaling, exhaling. And this will be like our pranayama. And as you bring the hands back on the exhale, see if you can pick up the contents of the belly and tuck them back in. Inhale, exhale. So as you inhale, the belly rises. And as you exhale, you pick it up and you tuck it back in. A couple more. Inhale. And make sure that both legs are bent. And you're really grabbing that block. Here's our last one. Inhale, exhale. Keep that standing leg strong. Lift up your front leg and see if you can tap your toe to your knee. Take the arms out to the side. Press the knee and the big toe together so you feel a little waking up. See if you can bring that energy up the center of the spine all the way to the crown. Last breath. And exhale, release that. It's a great way to feel steady, is just to have this really steady, slow beginning and focus. So bring your left foot to the block. Knees are both bent. You grab those toes over the front of the block, look down, make sure the arch is lifted. Can you pull that arch all the way up into the pelvic floor? Can you bring the hips back so that you keep a lumbar curve? And then you might feel that there's that spilling action, so lift up the contents of the belly and tuck them back in. Inhale, reach out. Exhale, pull back. Inhale, pranayama, so really use the breath. And each time you exhale, you pick up the contents of the belly, lift them up and tuck them back in. Inhale. And you want to feel the fatiguing in your legs, because that means you're building muscle tone and energy. Couple more, inhaling. Pull it, exhale. Inhale. Pull it, beautiful. Stop there. Balance on your right leg. Tap your knee with your big toe. Look straight ahead. So you stay focused and steady, feeling the strength in both legs, in the belly. Last breath. And then release. Place those feet down on the ground. Bring your blocks up to the front of the mat. We'll go right into Surya Namaskar, sun salutation. Bringing your hands into prayer at the top of the mat. Inhale deeply. Exhale, release the hands and release even the knees for a moment. Let your legs get soft. Feel that easeful moment. And then inhale, fly. Feel the strength building as you lift and look up. Exhale, dive forward, Uttanasana, standing forward fold. And you bring that energy just like you did on the blocks. You bring that energy all the way up. Even the arches come up into the pelvic floor. It lifts up into the body. As the belly lifts up, tucks the contents inside, and you bow forward. Couple more breaths here. Inhale, halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, we'll bend the knees right into Utkatasana. Lift the arms up and plug them in. So this is a skill that I find quite difficult, so that the arms aren't reaching out and the shoulders off the back, but we plug them in. And then we do the same thing with the legs. So we try to sit down a little lower, plugged in, and then on our next exhale, belly lifts, and we come all the way up to standing. Look up, exhale, dive forward. We'll do that a few times just to wake up the strength of the legs. Uttanasana. So take a moment here to breathe and to bring that energy up the legs all the way up into the pelvic floor. Then inhale, halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Utkatasana, hands float straight forward, plug them in, plug the legs back and in, lift the belly in and up, inhale, come on up, look up, exhale, dive forward, Uttanasana, couple breaths here, knees are soft, arches are lifting, another breath cycle, last one. Inhale, halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Utkatasana. Arms float up. They plug in. Legs plug in. Belly lifts in and up. Inhale, come all the way up. This time, we're going to take our arms wide, like in a cactus position, and see if we can keep the legs strong like that, but lift up the heart. So the legs don't collapse forward. They actually stay as if the arches were lifting to hips and the hips or sitting bones were pressing back down to the heels. Inhale, fly again. Exhale, dive forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Bend your knees, grab your blocks, place them by your ankles. Inhale again. As you exhale, step your right leg back to a lunge. And this is a straight leg lunge this time. So you're going to feel how the front knee reaches forward in space until it's stacked right over the front ankle. And the back heel and the back thigh reach backward in space. So they're not sagging down here, but it's almost like a magnet is pulling them back and up. Take one more breath here. Lift up the contents of the belly and tuck them in. Bring the frontal ribs in. Anchor the back foot. So now it's square to the back of the mat. Then you walk your blocks to the right. And so it looks like a mixture between Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2, and Downward Facing Dog. So you can walk those blocks out one more step, enough that you can still feel your feet and legs strong. So I want you to look at your front foot and your front knee. The arch is lifted and the knee is right over the second and third toe. And you feel that strong leg. Breathe into it. And then take your attention to the back leg. Same thing. The arch is lifted to the inner thigh, and there's a sense of opening the sitting bones here so that you can feel the spine moving directly through those two sitting bones all the way up that central channel of the body. One more breath. The legs should be feeling strong and fatiguing right about now. Last breath. Beautiful. You want that. You're building muscle tone. Bring your blocks back to frame that front foot. Bring your heel up and rock forward and back a few times. Just give yourself a little leg massage. Breathing and then stepping forward, Uttanasana, standing forward fold. You can use blocks or no blocks. Take a moment to feel yourself resting here. It's both strength, steady, stiram, and ease. So see if you can find a balance. Drop into the pose and let your tissues hang over the strong bones. And then from here, we inhale halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, bend the knees and bring the blocks to frame your ankles. Take your left leg back to a straight leg lunge. And just take a moment to settle in to this shape of your practice. So the front knee is reaching forward over second and third toes. The back leg is lifting almost up to the sky and back through the back heel, and you feel this opening in the pelvis. The belly picks up and drops its contents back inside the pelvic bowl, and the ribs pull back. Last breath. Then you walk your hands to the left, and you anchor your back foot. So it's looking like Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. And downward facing dog. So you can go as far forward as it feels, therapeutic to you. Here would be where you don't want to go so far that you no longer can control your arms. You want that sense of stability there too. So take a peek and look at your front foot. Arches lifted all the way up to the pelvic floor. And the knee is tucked right over those second and third toes. And if I do that, I already still start to feel fatiguing in that right leg. So I'm going to look back at that back foot, same thing, arches lifted all the way up to the pelvic floor, and we spread the sitting bones back and apart. That creates this opening that the spinal column can come right up through the crown. Belly lifts up and tucks in. One more breath. Beautiful. Walk yourself back. Lift your heel up. We're going to take our blocks off to the front of the mat. And we'll step back into plank pose. Let those legs rest a little bit, though they're still having to be strong. You pick that belly up and tuck it in the pelvic bowl, and now your arms are most of the balance, so see if you can plug them in. See if you can keep the belly strong even as you melt the heart down. One more breath. Pull the belly up to the sky, and then drop your knees to the floor. Look forward, elbows glide back, and you come all the way down onto your belly, resting your forehead on your hands for a moment, inhaling. And as you exhale, start to lift your booty off the floor. And you can take a moment to even rock left and right and walk your knees a little closer to your pelvis. And then with those strong, steady legs, drive the booty up into the sky. And breathe and pick up the belly as best you can. Last breath. Beautiful. And release. Bring the forearms, balancing on the forearms for Sphinx pose. We'll take a moment here to make our legs super strong, bringing that strength all the way up into butt. It's almost like you're trying to bring the buttocks up the back, and you're picking up the low belly and tucking it right there into the pelvis. See how high you can stay. See how strong you can make the legs. And then start to reach your arms back behind you and interlace your fingers for bound Shalabhasana. You can use your hands like a fishing pole and lift up your feet. Breathe. See if you can lift your shoulders higher than your wrists. See if you can release the back of the neck. Use your hands to bring up the legs like a fishing pole. Beautiful. Release that. Place your hands down by your sides, tucking elbows in, shoulders higher than elbows, they lift you up. You come up to tabletop, big toes touching, sit on back, child's pose. Take a cleansing breath here. And another. And then see if you can just swing your hips left and right. We're going to come on up to sitting. I'm going to walk myself a little farther forward on the mat, and I'm going to cross my ankles. From here, I sit on back, swing my legs out from underneath me. I'm going to roll down onto my back, one vertebra at a time. Little core work, get our core even steadier. So I like to start slow, try to get the back of the sacrum onto the mat, and then I'm going to use my abdominals. That's that picking up action, placing it inside the pelvis, and then see if you can go lower. Keep doing that. It's like you're lifting up as you go down. One more. Beautiful. When you get down, take your arms out in T-pose. Walk your feet closer to your booty, and then with your left foot strong on the mat, take your right leg up into the sky so the heel is stacked right over hip. Without changing the alignment of the leg, turn it out. So you're not taking the leg out to the side, you're just twisting it out. And see if you can feel more twist in that hip. So you're trying to externally rotate it, drive the heel into the sky. One more breath there. See if you can relax the shoulders down onto the mat. And then take that ankle and bring it over the other knee for like a prep for Sukhi Randrasana. Inhale. Exhale. Low back moves to the floor, and we bring those legs up off the floor without using our hands. And you're just going to press the knee, the knee into the foot and the foot back into the knee. And you're going to try to see how symmetrical you can be here. And can you pick up the belly and tuck it back into that pelvic bowl? Can you at the same time, here's the steadiness of the legs, can you make the upper body really easeful? It's fun to try to find that balance so that we're not gripping in the jaw or the fingers. We're just making the legs and the core do all the work. Last breath. I find that'll really fire up the legs. Now, don't change anything. Keep it just that way, but try to drop your right foot to the floor, to the left side of your body. So you're staying in that same shape. I have to put my left foot down first, and then I find that right foot as I open into the twist. And you root down with those strong legs and you pick up the belly. And you find that breath and you release the shoulders. There's the ease part. So steadiness on the base of the pose allows for the ease and for you to take your seat in this shape. One more breath. Exhale, belly to the back. Bring yourself up slowly. Release your leg. Take both legs into the sky. Take both arms into the sky. And then plug your shoulders down and plug your hips down. And just notice how subtle that is, but it changes the way that you are in this pose. In that, you're just going to open everything out to the side like a big X. I'm just going to feel that. You're not changing the shaping of your back. You're just opening at the limbs. And then exhale, everything comes back together. And then inhale, opening, dropping outer hips, dropping outer shoulder. Exhale, back together. A couple more. Inhale. dropping, opening up the center of the body, exhaling in together. Inhaling last time, opening it up. Exhaling it together, bend the knees, drop the feet to the floor, take a cleansing breath. Arms can stay out in T. Okay, we're going for a second side. So standing on the right foot, take your left foot up into the sky so that it's right over the hip. So you got a vertical leg there. Rotate it out. And once you get that first rotation like a duck toe, find the place in the hip where you can squeeze and rotate just a little bit more and drive the heel into the sky. One more breath there. And then bring that ankle right over your standing knee. Inhale, exhale, low back to the floor. Bring the foot off the floor. So now it's Sukhi Randrasana without your hands. Look, ma, no hands. Press the ankle into the knee presses back. We're just going for steadiness in the legs and in the core. And you breathe. You could even do this one on a chair where you just work those legs and try to find the ease with which the spine comes up from the hips. Inhale here. You're going to keep that shape. Exhale, drop your left foot to the floor as onto the right side of the body as best you can. I have to touch down my right foot first. That works for me as I work that shape. The arms stay in T and the shoulders relax back. And you're trying to keep all those same actions so the legs are really awake in their steady stiram posture. The spine is easy as it comes up through the center line of the body. The shoulders rest back, the jaw softens. Inhale here. Exhale, belly to spine, bring that shape up. Beautiful. Extend both legs up into the sky. Extend both arms up into the sky, but plug them back down. Don't be lifting the shoulders off the floor. Plug them in. See if you can also release the hips down. You'll notice when you do that, you get a little lumbar curve. So what does that mean? Pick up the belly, tuck it in. Inhale, go wide, like a big star that you are. And exhale, sweep them together. Try not to lift those shoulders off the floor. They're going to want to do that. And it's your job to try to keep them down, even as you bring them together. It takes a different kind of strength. Inhale wide, exhaling to close. Inhale wide. So you feel that symmetry of everything opening up symmetrically. Inhale wide. Exhale together. Just take a moment to shake it out. Bring your knees into your chest. Start to rock and roll so you get a little lift in the spine. If it feels good to you, keep going, making it bigger until you can roll all the way up to sitting. When we get there, we're going to cross our ankles, rock forward, and step back, downward facing dog. Whew. Then you wonder, how did I get here? I was just on my back a minute ago. Soften your knees, feel your feet on the floor. Bring that strong muscle energy up the legs, arches to pelvic floor. Sitting bones, try to reach for the sky. That helps us spill the hips forward. Then the belly picks up and tucks inside. Inhale, press arms and shoulders, reach higher than the wrists. Last breath. Can you melt the heart here, even as you keep everything else strong and steady? Beautiful. Bring your feet together. Inhale, sweep your right leg to the sky. Come up to tippy toes and push forward until you're over your strong arms. I just want you to feel that and root those arms down. If you like, you can try a little hop. You can try bending the standing knee and just do a little hop, just to feel the strong steadiness of the arms. Maybe 3 or 4, or maybe you just imagine and then step back to downward facing dog.
Whew, that'll get a lot of energy up to our brain. Happy energy. Good. Let's try second side. So feet together. Inhale, left leg to sky. Come to tippy toes and rock forward till your shoulders are almost over your hands. You can just stay there and feel the steadiness. Or you can bend your standing leg and see if you can hop a little. It's just kind of fun to feel the weight on the hands. Good. Come on back to downward facing dog. And then walk your hands back to meet your feet. Take your feet wide for ragdoll bow. Let yourself be easy here. Just hang over. Squeeze and open your hands if you need to relieve some pressure from the wrist. Let it go if you need to. From here, we bring elbows inside the knees for pressure cooker pose. We bring hands to the tops of the feet just so that we can feel that steadiness. You bring the arches up to the pelvic floor and you look forward. And you just breathe here. Strong legs. Can you press so much into the knees and the elbows together that you can feel the sitting bones winging apart? And you pick up the belly and tuck it back into the pelvic bowl. Last breath. Beautiful. From here, we're going to bring the hands straight to the hips. Elbows together on the back almost. Press down, come all the way up to standing. Exhale, release your hands. Inhale, fly them up overhead. Exhale, drop over into crescent moon to the left. And breathe. Can you pick up the belly here and find the stretch in the intercostals? Press down. Inhale to come up. Switch hands and go to the second side. See if you can keep the hips relaxing back, but the belly picking up and breathing open through the ribs. Beautiful. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, you can just like cow tilt down, like stick your butt out, stick your heart out, and just, reach it all the way back down. And then walk yourself back to downward facing dog. Take another breath there. And then just like a monk on a walking journey, start to walk yourself forward and pause. And forward and pause. And forward and pause. And I want you to see if you could walk your feet all the way between your hands. I can't quite do it, but I keep trying. Sometimes you can wiggle your feet forward and help you. And then bow deeply wherever you are. Your asana. Take your seat. Inhale halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Utkatasana. Hands fly forward and plug in. Legs plug in. Belly plugs in. Inhale, come up to standing. Exhale, release your hands down and around to prayer. Take a cleansing breath. We're going to go right into a standing tree pose because our legs are primed and ready. We'll stand on our right leg and kickstand our left leg out to the side. My standing leg is soft. My knee is bent. My arms can go out to the side. I've got lots of choices here, but I'm going to feel that the stretch comes from the center line of the body out through the arms. Inhale. As you exhale, you tap your ankle with your foot. If that makes sense, then you drop the heel onto the shin, and there's your tree pose. Otherwise, you try to keep that knee wide out to the side as you reach down for your ankle and bring it up onto the inner thigh, and there's your tree pose. So take your seat. Find the steadiness in the legs. Find the ease in the torso. Find the focus steady on one point. And find the ease in the mind as it drops down into the legs all the way into the earth. The earth is going to take all those thoughts and turn them into humus. I think that's more how you say it. I think you eat hummus and you walk on humus. Inhale, fly the arms up overhead. Exhale, see if you can bring that knee towards your chest. Hold it there and then release it down. Whew, nice, strong, and steady. Beautiful. Bend the standing leg. That's your left one. Kickstand the right one out. And just find that steadiness, even if you need to kind of shake it down into the earth. Arms come out to the side. Imagine you're stretching from that center line of your body, even in the back body. And then you can tap your toes to your ankle. If that feels good, you rest your heel there. If you want to go for more, you make sure that that knee stays out to the side, and you bring the ankle up to the inner thigh and press to that center line as the arms come out to the side. Beautiful. Feel the steadiness of the standing leg, the openness of the heart, the picking up of the belly, and the focus steady and strong. One more breath here. Feel the mind dropping down into earth. And then inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. See if you can pick up that lifted knee and bring it to the front line of the body. Exhale, release it all the way down. Beautiful. Keep your arms up. You should be at the front of the mat. Just find another moment to lengthen even as you drop anchor. And then release your hands all the way down and around into prayer and take a cleansing breath. All that steadiness you should notice in easefulness starting to come into the body, and a sense of ownership over this place and time for ourselves. Inhale, lift your heart. Exhale, release your hands. Inhale, fly, look up. Exhale, dive forward. Uttanasana, standing forward fold. Inhale, halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana, find your blocks. Bring them by your ankles as your knees soften, and step your left leg back to a straight leg lunge. Anchor your back foot and walk your blocks over to the left. Strong and steady. The front knee, peek at it. Make sure you've got to be your own teacher right now, your own adjuster. So you got to make sure that that knee is right over second and third toe, and you feel the weight in the heel. And then you look back at the back leg, same thing, it's strong. See if you can bring those arches up to pelvic floor and open the sitting bones. From there, you're going to fly your arms out to the side like a T, root down through those legs and come right up to warrior two. Woohoo! Good job. Stacking your shoulders right over your hips. Take a moment, even if you have to do a little shimmy through those ribs. Take a peek at that front knee. Make sure it's still in line with the second and third toe. Good. Reach forward with your front block. Reach back with your back block. And take a big goddess warrior stretch, opening up through the side body. Then inhale, come all the way up, straighten that front knee. Drop your blocks off just so they're close and handy. I'm going to take mine to the front of the mat. Inhale, come on up. Exhale, bend that front knee to a square again. Take your arms, sweep them behind the back. Interlace fingers, take the hands to the sky. Inhale, lift up. As you exhale, you try to bring your forehead to your front ankle and your arms overhead. Take another breath. Feel both legs super strong and powerful. Good, and then from there, release the hands down to the floor. Frame that front ankle, lift the back heel, rock it forward and back, adjusting as you need to make it on an exhale into Uttanasana. Here we go, exhaling Uttanasana. Inhaling halfway up Ardha Uttanasana. Softening knees, blocks come by ankles, right leg steps back to a lunge. Take a moment here. Anchor your back foot. Walk your hands to the right. Take a moment to feel those super strong legs. Knee over second and third toe. Left heel rooting into earth. You'll feel that all the way up into the sitting bone. Right leg strong back, sitting bones back and apart. Feel that spine through that central channel. The belly picking up. Inhale here. As you exhale, take your arms out to the side. Inhale, push all the way up to warrior two, stacking ribs right over hips. You can shimmy here a little bit till you feel that place. You shake up those kinesthetic habits. Check out that front knee. Be your own good teacher there. And then inhale, reach through the front block, and exhale to the back block. So you get a big stretch through those intercostals. I like having blocks here because they just give a teeny bit more weight and make sure that that knee doesn't migrate inwards. It stays strong. Beautiful. Inhale up, straighten the legs. Reach the blocks down so they're out of your way. On your next exhale, the front knee bends, the hands go goofy interlace behind the back. Inhale, stretch them up. Exhale, forehead to inner ankle. Let arms come higher than the shoulders. One more breath, super strong, steady legs. From here, we're going to release our hands and walk to the long edge of the mat and turn the feet forward. Well, here's another way to get legs super strong and steady. You bend through the right leg and walk over to the right ankle. And then you feel that same action that we did before, where the legs draw energy up to the hips and we move to the other side. So it's not just a passive thing, it's like you're pulling the energy, opening the sitting bones, and transferring the weight to the other side. Pulling up the energy, opening up the sitting bones, and transferring to the other side. And if you're doing this properly, you'll feel it. You'll feel those legs come online. Couple more. See if you can coordinate your breath. Inhaling as you come up, exhaling as you go down. Let's do one more each side. Inhaling and exhaling. Beautiful. I'm just going to rock to this side, but rock to the front of your mat with one heel up. And then you're going to drop your blocks off, and you're going to step on back to plank. Take a pause here, plug in your shoulders. Activate your abdominals. Inhale deeply. Melt your heart as best you can. On your next exhale, drop your knees to the floor. Feel the elbows dropping down by your sides as your face lifts forward and your heart goes forward. The shoulder blades draw back, reverse cobra. Inhale to cobra. Exhale back down again. Okay, I want to just go over this for a moment. So rock your legs left and right, bring them in. So together. So if you're going to have your hands by your chest and you're thinking about cobra, it's most people's habits that the shoulders drop lower than the elbows. So I want you to try to break that habit, create new awareness. So hug the elbows in until you feel the side ribs. And then don't think of anything else. Just circle the shoulders to bring them higher than the elbows. It'll draw your head right up. That's baby cobra. Okay, now most people when they go into the next form of cobra, which we could probably call teenage cobra, the shoulder heads drop down and we push again. I want you to lift up the shoulder heads higher than the elbows, come up a little higher. And then as we go into adult cobra, you lift those shoulder heads up. Maybe you only get into young adult. And then you release yourself all the way down. Beautiful. Rest your forehead on the hands. Take your hands behind the back, interlaced. You're just going to roll onto the left side. I don't care what you do with your legs, but just stretch through the chest. And then you're going to try to roll along the whole front edge of the chest as you roll to the other side. Take your time. It's like a little chest massage. And the legs, you can do whatever feels good to you. They can help you, assist you. You try to roll one section of the chest down at a time. Let's go first side again. And you can groan if you need to. Nobody can hear you. Back to second side. You get to hear my groans as I open that tight chest. Beautiful. And then we come back to center. Let's rest our forehead on our stacked hands for a moment and take a cleansing breath.
If you want to wag your tail here, you can. Take another breath. And then we'll try our cobras again. So we'll bring our hands to our chest. This is really nice to do if you have somebody to watch you or a mirror to help you, but if you don't, you're going to try to be your own internal guide. So the elbows or the forearms are literally touching the sides of the ribs. From here, we lift the shoulder heads up, and that brings us up into baby cobra, so that your arm bones are parallel to the floor. Your legs get strong, and you bring that energy all the way up into butt, and then you press down and roll the shoulders up to teenage cobra. Maybe that's where you finish up, but if you want to go for more, you roll the head of the arm bones up, and you see if you can come up into full cobra. If it hurts the back, then you just need more leg strength and you need more core strength. From here, press up to tabletop and back to child's pose. Take a cleansing breath here. Find the ease, the letting go in your child's pose. Let your elbows rest, your forehead rest. See if you can drop into this pose, the whole of you. And you might notice that there's a portion that holds back or that doesn't let go as easily. So go for it. See if you can let all body parts let go. Beautiful. From here, we're going to inhale up to tabletop. We're going to bring our knees close to each other and our feet apart as we tuck. I think I did that wrong. Sorry. We're going to tuck the knee behind and then take the feet apart. And now you're going to imagine that long spine. So it looks like tabletop with the legs in a little pretzel-y-like position. But you're going to find that spine and just draw it straight back. It's not going to go left. It's not going to go right. When you get partly back, you finger walk your hands forward and you feel, a good stretch through your hips. Again, trying to bring that spine back symmetrically and to pick the belly off of the thighs. You'll get a good stretch. Can you keep your shoulders higher than your elbows? That helps you to plug in. One more breath. Then inhale, come on up and switch sides. So the right knee is in the center of the mat, the left knee tucks in. You go wide with the ankles. Inhale, find that center line of the spine and pull it straight back. See if you can finger walk, tippy finger walk your hands another half of an inch forward. Get your shoulders higher than your elbows. Pick the belly off the thigh. Last breath. Inhale, come on up. Unravel your legs, tuck your toes. Stick your booty out, back, and apart, and push yourself back into downward facing dog. And you can just work to arrange your down dog. You could even do a little pendiculating, a little movement here. Just take a moment to feel a little more ease in this pose. Breathing the whole time, inhaling and exhaling. And then come back to center, root down through the hands and the feet. They're strong, but the body is pretty easy. The spine is fairly easeful. See where you can melt, where you can let go. A little bit of tension, maybe in the back of the heart. One more breath. And then inhale to tippy toes. Walk your way up to the front of the mat, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, bend your knees. Take your right leg back to a bent knee lunge. We're going to move right into Ardha Hanumanasana. So from here, we press through the front foot and take our legs back into runner's lunge. Once we get there, I want you to swing hips left, swing hips right. Swing them left, and think about literally like a swing.
how it goes up at either end and drops down in the middle. Breathing the whole time. Come back to center. Blocks are handy here if you're super tight. You can put the blocks beside you on the mat. They could even be way up here so that you can still make the legs steady, the sitting bones back and apart, the belly picks up, and we bow forward. One more breath here. Okay, so we tried it Monday, so we might as well try it today. You sneak that heel forward, keep your blocks there. They can be right underneath your shoulders. I'm going to flex that front foot and drive that foot forward for little splits here. The hips just hang down. The legs are strong, but the hips are easy. And we just ease ourselves into Hanumanasana or not. The blocks can be there just to guide that down. One more breath. Can you breathe sitting bones back and apart and belly up? Beautiful. And then you press down, press back into runner's lunge, and then rock it forward, step it forward. We're taking our time to come out of this very challenging pose. We're going to step forward like we're going to Uttanasana, but we're going to take that right leg into the sky. Standing splits. One more breath. He said, wait, I didn't sign up for this. Just do your best to take your stance, your asana. Reach back down into Uttanasana, standing forward fold, and just check out the difference between your left and right side bodies. I'm guessing they feel somewhat different. Beautiful. Let's try a second side. So we inhale halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, bend the knees, step the left leg back to a lunge. Inhale from here, runner's lunge. You just press back. And you can stay here. This is called Ardha Hanumanasana, half Hanumanasana. And remember, the blocks can be as high as you need to. You just make the legs strong and steady and open the sitting bones back and apart. That helps you already start to hinge forward. Then you pick up that belly and place the contents back inside as you bow forward. Finding the pose that works for your body today. Breathes and opens up those tight hamstrings. You can swing to the right. You can swing to the left. So you get all those hamstring fibers to line up really nicely when you do this, and they all get a little action. And then see if you can find where center is again. You can pick up the blocks. You can stay here if you want, or you can try just gliding down through that front heel, letting the hips just drop down, and you breathe. The hips, the legs are strong and steady, super strong and steady. The sitting bones wing apart, the belly picks up, and we feel that stretch through the legs. Last breath. From here, you're going to just draw back to Ardha Hanumanasana, and then you can just rock back and forth. We're going to step in towards standing splits. You just do your best. As you're ready, you step it forward into Uttanasana, and then you inhale your left leg up to the sky. One more breath. Legs are strong and steady, but there's a sense of ease in the torso. Beautiful. Release that foot down. Inhale up to tippy toes. Exhale, sit on back on your heels and take a pause here. See if you can encircle your legs with your arms and squeeze them. Couple more breaths. We've done some nice challenging poses here. So we're going to drop back onto our booty. So find a way to do it somewhat gracefully and come down to rolling all the way down onto your back. We've got one more bit of core work here, and then we'll take that into an optional balancing pose, hand balancing pose, but I'll give you options. You're going to take your legs into like happy baby. So your knees are wide, your feet are flat to the sky. And then you're going to take your hands in, or your arms in between your legs so your elbows are sandwiched against the knees. That's that pressure cooker pose. And your hands are flat to the sky. We could call this Supta Bhekasana, upside down crow pose. You're going to press elbows into knees, knees into elbows. Lift your face straight up to look at the sky, and then go for isometric action, pressing back, and pulling abdominals in. Don't tuck the chin in. Keep looking straight up until you're shivering and shaking in your boots. One more breath. Beautiful. And release. Just grab your ankles. Bring your feet together. Feet to the floor. And Supta Konasana. Reclining cobbler's pose. One more breath here. Let yourself find ease in this pose. All right, we're going to do that a second time so you can use your own hands to bring your legs up together. Inhale. As you exhale, bring your legs into Supta Bhekasana. Elbows come inside the inner knees. They press isometrically together. Hands go flat to the ceiling. Inhale as you isometrically press. Exhale as you lift your face straight up to the sky and pull the abdominals in. Squeeze, press back, and pull. And breathe, of course. Let's go for 3 more breaths. Last one. Release, grab your ankles. Bring the soles of your feet together. Give them a little rub, little massage. And then bring them down into prayer for Supta Konasana. Let go of your arms and shoulders. Let go of your hips. Let everything hang onto the mat. Take a breath. All right. Bring your right knee to your left knee. So you're going to roll to your left side. We're going to see if we can come towards Bhekasana. So I like to, for beginners, I like to either have a block or a blanket in front of you. That's for your head in case you fall. And you're going to tuck your toes underneath you and sit back on your feet. So it looks like a squat. And for Bhekasana, it's not important you do the whole thing. It's just important that you start to feel the steadiness of arms and legs and core to get you there. So the knees go wide, the arms tuck in, and here, do you recognize this shape? This is like your pressure cooker pose you just did upside down. And so you just relax down. You make the legs strong, but you try to get the upper body to relax down until the knees glide up towards your shoulders. Then you're going to press, and that could be where you stay. And then you press back and you bring your abdominals back. That's the action of Bhekasana. In fact, it's like a cat tilt. So the more you can round into your back, the better your Bhekasana will be. One more breath there. Now you can stay there for a couple more breaths, or you can press forward until you have some weight on your hands. And then you do the same thing. You press back, you try to take cat tilt, and then you try to float your feet off the mat. One more breath. And then drop your feet down. Sit on back. Come all the way back onto booties. Congratulate yourself for whatever you did and take your legs out wide. Upavistha Konasana. Fingertips by your back. Just lift up. Let yourself rest here for a moment. That was a lot. And then make your legs strong and see if you can hinge forward. There's your block handy there. You can rest your forehead on it. If that works, you could rest your elbows on it if that works. You could bring it in close if that works. And you just feel that stretch through the inner leg. Upavistha Konasana. Wide angle cobbler's pose.
And you just breathe into the pose. The legs are strong and awake and steady. And they're bringing that arch energy of the feet all the way up into the pelvic floor. So the sitting bones can wing apart. Then the belly picks up and tucks back into the pelvis. And then we rest. See if you can find some ease here. All right, press down, come up. We're going to do that whole series again, believe it or not. Bring the legs up, cross the ankles over. You can rock yourself forward and tuck your legs back. So now I'm on my toes tucked under. I'm going to move my block flat in case I need that for my head. And I'm going to come into prep for Bhekasana, crow pose. I don't know about you guys, but we have had so many crows in Los Osos lately. It's crazy. Okay, tuck your arms in. Your knees go out to the side, and this can be your pose today. So you just try to let the upper back ease down. Let it melt down so you curl and round. The legs stay steady and strong, and then they start to press on your upper arm bones. And the upper arm bones press back. You think cat tilt. So you got to pull the belly in and up, and you're welcome to stay there. If you want to go a little farther, you tuck the hands in a little closer, you lift the hips a little higher, and then you pause there, and you try to squeeze and round the back, get that core up. If you want to go higher, you rock forward and feel what it feels like to do weight bearing on your hands. Or you can try to come all the way up. One more breath. Come all the way down. Let yourself sit on down. Take your legs wide. Upavistha Konasana. Take a pause. You're just letting yourself get super easy. That was a lot of strength and steadiness building practice. Beautiful. From here, you're going to bring the sitting bones back in apart. Make the legs active. Arches all the way up to pelvic floor to swing the sitting bones back and apart. That helps you to hinge forward. But that's not the whole story. You got to pick up the belly and tuck it back in and bring the ribs back. And then if you can find the head on a block or stacked hands, whatever works for your body, keep those legs strong and active to the midline. Keep the sitting bones winging apart and the belly strong and active. Keep breathing. Beautiful, legs strong as you inhale and look forward and come all the way up. Whew, good job. Reach your hands underneath your legs, bring them together. I'm going to scoop forward and find my blanket, so I encourage you to do the same thing. I'm going to find our blanket. I'm going to make a burrito roll. We're going to finish off with some really nice long stretches for the body so that we can really feel the ease in the tissue. So I'm going to tuck that little burrito roll right underneath my knees for Paschimottanasana, supported version. If you know that lumbar curve is really challenging for you, I highly recommend a folded blanket that you just sit those sitting bones on the tippy edge of the folded blanket, and they'll kind of tilt that pelvis for you. I also like to have blocks. For me, I can have my block between my upper shins. Some people are going to have the block right on top of the burrito roll there. So yogi's choice. And then you kind of squeeze and hug that block. There's that strong action of legs. Forehead rests on the block. You can have 2 blocks. You can have 3 blocks. You just make it work for you. You just want to have a little action towards the midline. You want to have the legs working to squeeze that block as best they can. And then you just try to melt the upper body over. Let the elbows drip down. They'll gently pull on the torso and stretch. Where can you release tension? You can start at the top like we did before. Start in the face and the eyes and the jaw, drip down to the neck and shoulders, and then through the torso, all the way down in stages. Keep letting go. Keep working towards sukha, ease, or sukham. And I like to think here of dropping in. Just drop it down. Let it go. So you can try both ways. You can try the progressive way or just the releasing way. Enjoy the breath moving through your body. It's going to find its own tempo. Forward folds, Paschimottanasana is considered a cooling pose. A lot of us struggle to feel that in the beginning of our practice because this means that it's such a challenging pose, and sometimes it feels more agitating than cooling. But if you can work at releasing muscle tension, dropping it down into earth, let earth digest that tension for you, it will become more cooling. It's considered an introspective pose. All forward folds are more introspective, so allow for that. Keep the breath steady and smooth. Let's take 2 more breaths here. Where else can you release tension in those last 2 breaths? As you're ready, pick up the belly, let your head hang, roll yourself up through your spine. Let's just take a little counter pose by placing your hands behind you, lifting the chest, taking your time as the tightness in the body unravels, and just lift the heart up to the sky. Couple breaths here. Gently moving, always gently moving from back bending shapes to forward bending shapes. Let the spine adjust over time. Beautiful. Come on up. You're going to take your right leg and cross it over the left leg so the knees are like a little sandwich. And my right foot is off towards the left hip. And then you can just kind of wiggle yourself so that you're more centrally angled. And you just take a moment here and make the leg steady. Think of those arches bringing energy up to the pelvic floor. And usually I find that helps you start to hinge. If you need blocks, you could make a little tower for your arms and then rest your forehead there. You could get creative. You could make a block tower on your shin. You're going to have to hold that one. And then just see if you can drop anchor in your hips. Just drop them down. We began with the steadiness of our legs. And now we find the ease. We let go. And then we become satisfied with our asana, our seat that we can take today. And sometimes, partway through the practice, you'll feel that you've opened up and you can rearrange the blocks or not. Breathe into anything that's tight. Imagine you're inflating a balloon. One more breath. Make it full, make it count, and then pick up the belly and roll yourself up. We're going to take our little counter stretch and move your hands behind your back. Inhale, arch the spine, lift the heart. One more breath here, pulling elbows to the back wall. Pull those shoulders up and over. And then release that and let's switch sides. So we'll take that right leg straight and the left leg tucks over the top. So knees are making like a tower there. They're stacked right over on top of each other. You need to adjust the seat blanket. You want to bring those sitting bones back and apart. The legs are active to the middle. So there's a sense that the arches pull all the way up to the pelvic floor to help you start to hinge. And then you find your block tower. Rest your forehead on it. Third eye point is a great resting point. When you put pressure on that third eye point, Chinese medicine says that relaxes the central nervous system. It's probably why the thinker, that famous statue, had his forehead on his third eye, allowed him to think more clearly with his fight or flight response starting to dissipate. Feel that breath moving through your body like a wave, relaxing everything in its path. Let yourself drop and release. Where can you find more ease in this pose? Is it in your arms? Is it in your eyeballs, in your jaw, in your breath? Listen to your body. Move accordingly so you're not always pushing it to the edge, but you're listening so that you can find some strength and some ease in every pose. Couple more breaths. Pick up the belly, slowly roll up. Take your hands behind your back, little counter pose, arching the spine. Okay, we're going to move into a supported twist. You're going to drop your blocks off to the side. You shouldn't need them, though there might be one or two of you who might need it behind your head. So if you know that neck issues, upper shoulders are really tight, you might do that. Otherwise, you're going to take your second blanket that's in your pillow fold. You're going to lie it on the mat and put your first little burrito roll. I need to tighten mine back up again. It got a little smashed. I'm going to put it on that second blanket, and I'm going to roll a burrito roll over on top. And now we have what looks like a bolster. I'm going to place that about a third of the way up the mat. And I'm going to roll down onto my back so my tush is really close to that burrito roll and my feet
are on the outer edges. And I just lay down here. I can knock my knees in together and just rest here for a moment. Let myself arrive. Let the shoulders and hips settle back. I'm always amazed at how I keep my shoulders lifted sometimes, even when I rest back. So take a moment to release those shoulders down. Now you're going to keep your feet wide on the wide edges of the burrito roll, but you're going to turn your left foot to the outside. And you're going to drop your right knee to your left foot. Okay, so a little supported twist. And then you just look straight up to the sky. Let those knees fall off to the side. And then you take your right hand and you grab the left side of your face, the temple. And you just bring that side of the face over to the right. So now you have your knees going to the left, your face going to the right, and you just do a nice little twist. And you might even pick up the belly a little bit and turn the belly button over to the right as well, in line with your face, the same direction that your face is going. Just to stretch the inner belly as well. One more breath. Release the forehead, let the head go straight up. Pull the belly onto the back. That'll swing those knees up into the sky. And then just rearrange to make sure that you're square and your feet are comfortable on the outer edges of the burrito. Inhale. As you exhale, turn your right foot out to the right edge of the foot and drop your left knee to your right foot. It's a little bitty twist. It's kind of a supported twist. Not kind of. It is a supported twist. Then lift up your left hand, grab your right temple, the right side of your face, and gently bring it over to the left. So you're looking towards your left shoulder. See if you can drop out your right shoulder. Let it go. And then take your belly button, draw it in and up, and twist it to the left. Nice deep breaths, letting everything rest on the earth, even the backs of the shoulders. And then using your belly, press it back to lift those hips up. You're ready just to stretch your legs so that your knees rest right on that bolster. I'm going to have you take your arms out in T, but palms face down. And I want you to reach your hands away from you. So just glide them on the floor. Feel the whole hand on the floor. You're going to get a little stretch for the internal shoulder. Couple more breaths there. Pressing the thumb side down and stretching fingertips away from you. On your next exhale, you're just going to let go. You're not going to try to do anything with your hands. Just let go of muscle tension. Boom. And I bet your hands will fly to the sky. Let them just land where they land. And see if you can continue to let them go. And you let your breath be smooth and steady. Resting your body on the earth, taking in the healing that the earth offers you. The earth is considered nurturing, whereas the sky is more enlightening. So let your back body be nurtured
And let your front body be enlightened so that you feel the steadiness of nurturing and the easeful expansion of enlightenment. Just enjoy this pose for as long as you need. Let your breath fill you up and empty you out. Steadiness of the earth underneath you. Easeful opening of the front body. Everything resting back. This is where the body heals. This is where the mind rests. Deepen your breath. Maybe take 30 seconds or so just to do something that would feel good to you. So you'll wiggle your fingers and toes and maybe move into a yawny, stretchy, groany. Oh. If there's any place that's still sticky, give it a little bit of a movement. As you're ready, find that big stretch which helps you to roll to your right side. We'll meet in Sukhasana with a steady, upright spine and hips that are heavy on the earth. And maybe at this point in our practice, we feel that stiram sukham asanam, that balance between steadiness and ease. It helps us to take our seat. Breathe that in, breathe that out. We complete our practice by our practice of gratitude. We give thanks that we can come to this practice. We give thanks for this space and time and each other and our teachers. Remembering the teachers come in many forms for us. We take a moment to share some of the blessing of our practice out to someone, something, an idea. We're going to seal that prayer with a breath and an om together, inhaling deeply, vibrating completely. The divine in me honors the divine
in you. Namaste. Thanks for bringing your practices this way. If you have any thoughts or questions or concerns or whatever, feel free to unmute yourself. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and check out my other videos. Namaste.